who is your classmate. He's a teacher. He runs a language school. He's a very enthusiastic person, as you know him. He's a motivator. He's a great father of 2 boys and husband of this lady, the dead lady in the back.
She was the crazy one to get married with me.
Yeah, so, and I'm very happy to have him here, and he will present about the concept that is very interesting, and it seems interesting, and I hope you'll enjoy it, and it's called Edutainment in ELT. So please enjoy, and let's just support the concept.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alenka. Thank you everybody for coming and listening to this speech. Thank you for your time. Edutainment in ELT. Have you ever heard the term edutainment? Anyone? Can you please raise your hand if you've heard this term? Only Lucy, Matteo? Well, today we will talk about edutainment, what that is, what possibilities lie in this concept for the future. I think through this presentation you will understand that all of you have come across edutainment, and what I'm missing, honestly, in this is in my career or in my life as a student, as a teacher, as a pupil, all the things I've been missing, I will try to put into this presentation. This presentation has taken me several weeks to imagine, to visualize it, to put it together, and it's not finished. So the first more than a half is going to be okay, but the second one is going to be maybe a little bit chaotic, but it's going to be more practical from the sense of the experience that you can see how it's applied in real life. So instead of talking more, I'm going to try to talk less and go to the point. That's sometimes a problem that I have, to get to the point. So, edutainment in ELT. What is edutainment? If we break it down, it is the combination of the words educational, entertainment. Now, I would like to, go into the deeps with, or the depth with educational. It means to train, or it comes from Latin, to train, to mold, or to draw out, or to lead out. Okay? So when we say educare in Italian, it means to mold something, or to bring outside what is within. Now, entertainment. Entertainment comes from the old French word entretenir, meaning hold together or support. Hold together or support. And it was very often connected in the world of hospitality, where you keep your guests happy. You keep them entertained. When you have your guests, you keep them entertained. So, later it became to mean something like amusement, something like distract. So, educational entertainment. This works so far. Okay, so I just told you this. Now let's move on. Okay, so when I was researching this word, I got into the concept of desires. And 2 of the main desires that people have, I was told, was to feel and to learn. So, and there are others, but these were one of the main concepts. So I really find that interesting, and I wanted to elaborate this presentation on this concept. So, when we talk about the desire to learn, I think it's the urge to understand, it's the curiosity, the need to make sense. From the early childhood, children, the first thing that they learn or acquire is language. And what do they do with the language?
Use it.
Yes? And how do they annoy us from their early childhood? Asking questions. Why?
Be curious.
because they want to understand what the heck is going on here. What's this? Who are you? Why is it white? Why is that black? Why is it like this? Why is it like that? They're curious. They want to understand what is this and what's their place in this world. Okay, so here these black dots in the grass represent seeds. So seeds for me represent curiosity. Curiosity are the seeds of human intelligence. So what do seeds need in order to grow? First of all, they need water. You're right. They need a nice cloud. And if we talk about intelligence, if we talk about education, I consider this cloud people, or the ones with the ability to educate in an entertaining fashion. Okay, and that's what edutainment is about. Not only to teach, not only to educate, but in an entertaining fashion, in a way where you grab the attention of your students or whoever that is, and you are able to keep it. Now, how do the people, the teachers, the educators, edutainers can, or what is that water for our soul, for our curiosity? It's things such as appreciation, excitement, respect, love, empathy, fun, happiness, goodness, amusement, joy. These are all the things and many more. I've currently mentioned mainly the positive ones. Of course, sometimes even the negative emotions, the negative things have their place in the educational system or in the process of education. But right now, I emphasize the positive ones. Okay, so that's the water. What else do they need? Or the seeds, what do they need to grow? The sun. They need the warmth, the energy. The sun, as I said, the cloud represent the teacher, and the sun and the moon represent the parents. At least in this presentation from my point of view, right? So if the seed gets enough water, and gets enough energy, attention, care, rest, that's why the night is there. It needs energy, but it needs to rest as well. Then it can grow. And it's very often came across the concept that children are like flowers. There is the language flower, the competition that some of us know, you know. So children can develop into flowers, right? But in this case, I don't want them to be flowers. I want them to be trees. Trees filled, blooming trees filled with flowers. And then later with fruit that's going to give life, that's going to give shelter to birds, to animals. So yes, flowers are beautiful, no doubt about that. But in this presentation, for this sake, I imagined it as a tree. Now this tree represents edutainment, different parts, different branches, and we're going to talk about them separately. But let's go from the beginning, and let's start, excuse me, the flower, the whole thing. Timing, problem with timing, but let's go to the roots. Now edutainment, you might say, is it something we've never heard of it? What's that? Well, I would trace it back further in the past, but one of the main people who come to my mind whenever I talk about play and learning is Jan Komensky. Obviously, he was developing his concept, school as play, and that was in the 17th century. Later on, Mademoiselle Maria Montessori, I assume some of you have heard of the Montessori approach to education and children development. Now, she lived in the 20th century, and she's one of the original pioneers of the interactive hands-on learning methods. Montessori method is a wonderful thing how to create a very engaging, stimulating environment for children. But I'm not going to talk more about that. But it's all about hands-on experience, learning, playing, naturally, yeah. Now the next, and actually the one who coined or he used the term edutainment for the first time was Mr. Walt Disney. Well, I think all of us know the Disney cartoons. Now, in 1954, he used it to describe the series True Life Adventures. These were actually, I think we're going to talk about it a bit later, but very quickly, these were documentary films which were narrated. And there was like a story about animals, about foxes, and there was always some kind of story to it. Hello, Sam. Welcome. And more recently, there was KRS-One. KRS-One, one of the very famous rappers in America, and he called his fourth album of his group Boogie Down Production Edutainment, where he specified education, entertainment. And he was dealing with Afrocentricity and social political knowledge. So he was not only rapping, but he was rapping about particular problems in the culture that he wanted to promote, discuss, and get into the minds of people. So, these, I would say, are the roots of edutainment as I was able to grasp. Good, and now let's go into the depth of it. So, edutainment, we will talk about several parts, and I'm just gonna check my time, and let's see where it takes us. So, go back for a moment. I'm gonna start talking about the application of edutainment. Where can it be applied? So, it can be applied in the formal process, or formal education. As you know, I believe majority of you know that we divide education into three parts. We've got formal, non-formal, and informal. Thank you very much. Yes. So, formal is the one which is being done in institutions, mainly schools, universities, and so on. So, how can we apply edutainment into formal education? By changing the traditional into the modern education, such as teacher-centered education into learner-centered, subject-specific knowledge into subject-specific and skill-based knowledge, or one-way transfer of knowledge from the teacher to the student into multi-way transfer of knowledge. From the student to the teacher, or from the student to the teacher, from student to student. Okay, so it's not only one way, it's multi-way transfer of knowledge. Passive and limited into interactive and engaging. You know, you can imagine how education has been led 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, sitting in rows, in lines, as a factory assembly line. Okay, you are the 95 year, and you're going to go this way and this way and this way, and it's all going to be structured. You need to memorize what I tell you, and I am the bearer of knowledge as a teacher, right? And you have to learn whatever I want you to learn. Theoretical into conceptual and practical. Okay, so instead of talking about it, let's do it. All right, this is a broader description of this change. For example, from print to multimedia, isolation to collaboration, facts and memorization, higher order thinking. Because I sometimes tend to think that in the past, the education served mainly to educate the working class. Be able to do what we told you to, or what we tell you to do. Don't think about it, don't analyze it, don't question it, just do it. Okay? And the higher education you got, there might be a higher probability that you will listen even further. And you will obey. Well, that's not what I would like to see for the future, and I believe all of us are in the same ship or boat. Okay, so from facts and memorization to higher order thinking, text-to-book driven, research driven. Yeah, in order here is a book learning. Let's do the research. Let's ask questions. Let's get to there together. Now, so using edutainment, education may get a new facelift. Okay, this is one way how we can use edutainment together with technology. And the effect might be, my school is cool. We got all these computers, we've got technology, this and that, it's all good. But honestly, that's all nice, it's all fine. But still, I think that if we don't have the right, that we can call this, I think, the heart tissue of the whole thing, the hardware. But if you don't have the software, the right people in the right place, who can motivate, who can stimulate, who can support you, and the whole technology can go outside the window. And that's why it's very important to create an environment which is going to be happy, where the children are going to feel good, an environment where children want to go, not only go there because I'm going to play games, or I'm going to, have more access to some kind of technology, but because I want to be there, because I'm going to learn, because I'm going to contribute, because it's going to get out of me something that I like getting out. So something like this, it's nice. I like it. What do you think, the children today that you've seen? Was it something similar? Were they enjoying themselves?
Yes.
And I think if we look at it from the neurological point of view, there's a plethora of researches which support that the brain learns the best way if it's relaxed. If it's relaxed, not when it's stressed. Under stress, different, I would say, brain parts are limited, blocked. Because under stress, we feel that we are either we're gonna flight, or we're gonna fight, or we will freeze. So they need to be relaxed. So this was a formal education. A non-formal education is non-restricted to any conventional institutions or classrooms. For example, it might be a trip to the forest. It might be a summer camp. This one, okay. Then go back to that. Then it can be also something else, and I'm going to show you a video, a short one. I hope. Click. Wait, where is this?
The Children's Museum contains priceless objects of scientific, historical, and artistic significance. But there's a twist.
Kids have their way of learning, which is to engage the world, to experience the world. You just watch them out in nature, in playgrounds, at home. They are exploring, they're tinkering. Playing is learning. It's the way children learn.
Play is becoming a more precious commodity in children's lives. So in some ways, we are preserving play, providing opportunities for everyone to get back to just the roots of play, meaning that it is social, it is open-ended, it involves materials, it involves changing the space or changing yourself.
You can combine fun with learning, with creativity, and making art, and participating in a play, and we want all of those things to be empowering to our visitors.
The Boston Children's Museum, founded in 1913, revolutionized the museum world in the 60s when it pioneered hands-on, object-based exhibit experiences for children.
So 1916 already, they had museums like this in America or in the United States. So this was just an example of a non-formal education. Oh, exhibitions. again, another form. Art, workshops, for fun, getting together. Sometimes they might be workshops where you're going to not deal with something which is outside, but which is inside. Where you have to face your fears. I have done a workshop like this. I couldn't find a picture of myself, but I have been doing this. It's fun. It's fun. So, yeah, and I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I've learned a lot mainly about myself. Okay, non-formal. And then we've got the last one, which is informal. So, informal is when you, for example, learn by yourself. You can use, again, edutainment is available. It's technology is transforming education, changing how, when, and where students learn, and empowering them at every stage of their journey. So, you know, many of you might, somebody might ask you, oh, how your English is so good. How come? Did you go to a language school? No, I haven't. Or no, I didn't. Or have you been abroad? No, I haven't. How is it possible? You speak so well. Well, I was listening to the TV, I was watching cartoons, I was listening to songs, and so on and so on. Yeah, I was playing games. So, I was basically doing it by myself, almost, using edutainment. Okay? Informal is, for example, when we parents teach and educate our children. Okay? Edutainment can be used, and it is used. I will show you later on. When you friends get together, prepare for an exam or something, some of us like to learn alone. Some of us need to talk about it. And I'm one of the latter ones. And the more I have lessons with Mrs. Kaminitska, the more I understand myself as a learner and see what challenges I did not understand I have had in me till now. Okay, at work, okay, you can go together. You need to do a new project. You can get together and use edutainment. Okay, so these were the ways we can apply edutainment. Let's go further and let's talk about how edutainment, this entertainment and education or educational entertainment influences our divergent thinking, creativity, and visualization. I don't know if you know what is divergent thinking. If not, this is for you. Divergent thinking isn't a synonym to creativity. It is an essential capacity for creativity. Creativity is the process of having original ideas that have value. Okay, that's creativity. But divergent thinking is being able to see more solutions, not only one, but more. So lots of ways to interpret a question, multiple answers, not one. See lots of possible answers to a question. Just think laterally. I took this from Sir Ken Robinson. So these are not my ideas, and I really I'm grateful for this. Okay, so visualization, creativity, imagination. Here is an example how edutainment can help us with it.
Imagine I have a beautiful tree that's filled with oranges. And I ask myself, what is the orange made of? How do I answer that question? Well, I want to look deeply inside the orange, so I magnify it. And I magnify it again, and if I keep on doing it, deep inside, sooner or later, I begin to see molecules come into view. But molecules are not the end of the story, because the molecules, I can enlarge them. And if I make them big enough deep inside, I begin to see atoms. Atoms are not the end of the story too, because we have electrons. Zoom in around the nucleus, deep inside, mostly empty space in the atom, but deep inside, we see the nucleus. So if I grab that and magnify it, I see that the nucleus is itself made of particles, neutrons and protons. And if I grab one of the neutrons and magnify it, I find yet further particles, little tiny quarks inside. Now that is where the conventional ideas stop.
And that's where we stop too. So, what do you think? If we were to learn physics or chemistry or quantum physics, would this be more useful than just talking about it?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So, edutainment offers a safe space and flexible outlet for students to get their creative juices flowing. And that's what we need. Because I have the idea or tendency to think that I think it was Einstein who said that repeating the same patterns and expecting different results is called insanity. And I think that with the conventional thinking and type of thinking, we cannot move forward and change the crises that we have, and we have crises all over the planet. And not only, I think that the greatest crisis is in our heads, and this is just all the projection of it. But we cannot solve that with the same approach that we have had for the past millennia. Okay, so that was how it might enhance, the edutainment might enhance creativity and visualization. Okay, now, hands-on experience. We seen the video from the museum. Now, have you ever heard of STEAM education or STEM education? Does anybody know what do these 5 letters stand for?
Science, technology, and maths.
Beautiful.
But I know electricity is it?
Science, technology, engineering.
Engineering.
M was for mathematics, and A stands for arts. This is the new approach where to all these they combine arts too. Just to, you know, get it more, get the juices more flowing. Okay, so for example, practical and hands-on approach to make students more confident in their abilities. Building devices from Lego, learning how to program them, learn how to use robotics. I think we have to be very cautious with artificial intelligence, with robotics, but if we want to be safe, we need to, I think, enhance children in a moral way how to use these technology to our advantage, not to our disadvantage. Whether we like it or not, we're not going to escape it anymore. It's going to be here more and more. So, for example, edutainment improves creative and collaborative teaching and learning methods. So it's not about me, what I can build, what I can program, but what can we build together. And you know that children love tinkering, they love building together, they love cooperating. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. Edutainment provides an opportunity to really connect to the subject, okay? So you can see that I've never had these VR goggles or whatever they are on my head, so I don't know how it is, but it seems that they are somehow connected and doing the same thing. I don't know what they're doing, but it's one of the things. Or, another one, interactive floor, where children can just spend their leisure time, or they can do some tasks, mathematical tasks, English tasks, and so on and so on. Geography, wow. History, and so on. And it's also together with physical education, a little bit of movement. Well, I'm not saying that they should be in front of or standing on this all day, but a little part of the day is not bad. Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, but not more. Okay, I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. Okay, good. So, next, we were talking about hands-on experience, and experimental learning. Let's talk about portable learning, because that's again a part of edutainment. Now, when I thought of my childhood, I'm 37 years old. I was born in 1985. At that time, what?
You're so young.
I've
been teaching for 27 years, so imagine.
Oh well, but listen,
You're still young.
it's about the energy of what you have inside, not, you know, the age. It's just a number.
That's what you wanted to hear. Thank you.
Yes, and you seem full of energy, so I have no problem with that. So, yeah. So that's the history, the beginning, I would say.
We didn't have that.
Look at this. Yeah, PSP, Xbox. Yeah. Children get crazy about this, I assume. Or that was the development of portable technologies such as notebooks. Yeah, you can see this box. What a notebook that was. I think that was the 80s or something. Alright, but then we have something more practical. My children like it. I like it. I think it's nice. And it's very handy. You put it in your pocket, take a book. There are so many things you can do with it. And again, children can get entertained and they get educated. I thought about our childhood. Do you know what's this? Yeah, Tetris, the good old days. And then came Nokia. Yeah, and we had the snake there. And yeah, the teacher was talking in the class and we were like, so yeah, so that was our, I would say, education, not entertainment. I would say this was rather entertainment back in the days. But now, if you look at the mobile phone and look at the smartphones nowadays, they have everything. They have everything. And they have apps such as this one, which is again connected with education, or might be, or is designed to, I don't know. Whatever.
App. The main experience of the Elevate app relies on these training games. They feel very reminiscent of the Brain Age games on the Nintendo DS. Basically, you have 4 different types of games: writing, speaking, reading, and math. In these games, you divide numbers, you edit sentences, and a whole bunch more. Overall, I think the games are really fun. They're short enough that you can just hop into the app for a few minutes, get these games done, and then move on with your day.
So, again, this is something that we didn't have. It was not available. But it is now. And it's education. Whether we like it or not, it is edutainment. Because, again, it's entertainment, playing game, and learning continuously. But that's what these apps are designed for. And I have just added a couple of them. Elevate, Khan Academy. Have you heard of Khan Academy? Yes. Brilliant. I mean, that's the endless source of inspiration and of tasks. So, Quiz-Bees, and there are many others. Maybe we're going to talk about them later. Okay, so that was portable learning. Yeah, learning we've got in our pockets or handy and so on. So, since we were talking about games in the mobile phone, and children like playing games in the mobile phone, the computer, PlayStation, and so on, well, honestly, who doesn't like playing games? Who doesn't like it?
Me.
You don't like it?
Me neither.
Games. Excuse me, I'm saying games. I'm not saying computer games. I'm saying games. Who doesn't like to play games? Whatever games they are. Don't get limited. I'm not limiting you to computer. So, excuse me, madam, may I ask?
If you're talking about games in general, so then okay, but not computer ones.
Yes,
Okay.
in general.
Yeah.
In general, okay? Thank you very much. Perfect. So, in this case, in education, we have a form of game-based learning, and we've got gamification. And I would like to show you some examples of that. So, board games, but not only board games like Človeče, but there are several other board games that have been specially designed. Monopoly is one of them, to not only play but also educate. And there are very many, I assume. Okay, so board games. Then we've got real life games, so-called LARPs, okay, where children or people, for that matter, it doesn't matter, get dressed or they have some roles and they play a particular game which has some kind of outcome that's about to be learned.
I was thinking of Bruno here. Bruno is not. He's not. Okay.
Does he play a lot of games?
It's not Dungeons and Dragons.
Board games, yeah.
Board games. I think he told me that sometimes they meet. Okay, so, but this was a very interesting one that I have personal experience with this, but I'm going to talk about that later. Digital games. Well, obviously, I assume that Madame at the back, this is what you don't like.
I'm not Madame. I would appreciate you call me Anna because Madame is horrible.
Excuse me.
Like an retired person. Okay, sorry. I'm Yana. Nice
Yana.
to meet you.
Yanka.
No, Yana is
Okay.
fine. I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I'm just kidding. You're doing it the best way. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Yana, thank you very much. But this is okay, right? This is fine.
Digital games. Actually, Gregor is doing his research. Is Gregor still here?
Gregor is doing his research. Okay, so he knows what I'm talking about. But I think all of us do.
Yeah.
Even young. Okay, so let's take a look at game-based learning.
Think of the last time you played a game. What were you feeling? Odds are you were excited, surrounded by family and friends, and totally engaged in hopes of ultimate victory. One model of project-based learning is game-based learning. Wikipedia defines game-based learning as a type of gameplay that has defined learning outcomes. Generally, game-based learning is designed to balance subject matter with gameplay and the ability of the player to retain and apply said subject matter to the real world. Educators are always looking for new ways to engage their students in learning, so why not use the power of well-designed games to achieve learning goals while also motivating learners to practice applying skills they will need to problem solve in future learning opportunities. In order to understand what game-based learning is, let's start by comparing it to the traditional classroom. In a typical classroom, the teacher delivers information, the students complete an assignment that uses this information, and then they are assessed. In a game-based learning classroom, students are given hands-on learning experiences where they can try out different scenarios, look at different strategies for solving a problem, and test them out many times if needed. Learners are actively engaged in making decisions and seeing their consequences and are able to move at their own pace.
I'm going to move on. Well, and here is where the problem is.
There are obvious benefits to using this model.
Okay, excuse me. This is where the problem starts with my presentation. This is where we get into trouble, but we're back. Okay, we're on track. So, I wanted to give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I was at an elementary school and we were teaching about democracy. And that was a LARP, live action role play. So, we had about 25 8th graders and we were talking about what is important for them for their lives, to get them warmed up and so on. Then they each got a role. One was the butcher, the other one was, I don't know, hairdresser, teacher, journalist, and each one of them had a specific role. And then they played a simulation, not simulation, they actually played a game for like, I think we played about half an hour. It was divided into several days. And in the end of the day, from a democracy, they ended up in totality, and several of them were supposed to be imprisoned or executed or whatever they have decided that's going to happen to them. So they were able, well, we stopped it at a moment which was appropriate. We did not get into any extremes, don't get me wrong, but the idea was they could live on their own skin how easily, just doing and living their everyday life, they could get from being free into getting imprisoned. And eventually, then later on the next day, we were talking about that this was a simulation, but actually it was based on the Second World War and Nazi Germany and whatever, and how the whole process happened from 1918 or 11 or whatever the years are till 1945. And so this was one of the example of game-based learning. Okay, so they were not just playing their roles, but they were actually learning about things and understanding, and then we were talking about what to do and not to do in order to prevent these situations nowadays. And then in the end they made the videos about themselves, creating some scenes and so on.
But it was in Slovak.
It was in Slovak, yeah, but to do it in English, if you have students which are skilled with the language, there's no problem.
It's called Demo Hráč, right?
Demo Hráč, yes.
Just to know the project, which is very interesting and I think very important.
I just received the message that we might do another one. Gamification is something else. Gamification is what is being used in these different kind of types of apps where, for example, you have levels that you can reach. So what they're doing? They are applying some steps or some principles from games and applying it to sports or applying it to any kind of results you want to teach, whether that's education or sport or whatever that is. So maybe this is going to be more comprehensible than me.
Rolling out a game in the classroom is more than just explaining the rules and handing out materials. It's how you get students playing fast. In a successful rollout, students get into the game quickly, learn by doing, and take ownership of their learning process. So how do you roll out a game? Step 1, know the game. It's important that you know the game well and you've thought about how to explain it to others. Succeeding at this means knowing your students well and how your classroom already runs. Step 2, choose a method for modeling how to play the game. For board games or card games, try a fishbowl format. A fishbowl is when you demonstrate the game with a small group of students while the rest of the class watches. For tablet or computer games, have one student play the game while displaying it on a large screen and ask the rest of the class to identify the rules and the goals. For complex games, demo the game with a few students who have played the game before. Then break your class up into groups and assign each experienced student their own group. For even more complex games, introduce a simplified version of the game to get students play.
And so on. So I'm not going to go further this one. This is also somehow connected with game-based learning, obviously. But as I said, gamification is about more introducing some points, some levels. So if you are able to give me an assignment by the end of the week, you've got 2 teams, for example, and who is able to give it first is going to get a reward. So giving rewards, that's another way how you can gamificate only some educational process. Okay, so that's another phase of edutainment. And I think from now it's going to get crazy. So I assume that, before that we get another part of this edutainment is effective and versatile. So as we said, it provides better understanding of theoretical subjects. It explains the complex ideas easily or easier, in an easier way. It helps students understand complex theoretical concepts in a simple and fun to understand manner. Edutainment utilizes multiple platforms such as narration, storytelling, games, movies, podcasts, and so on. Real-time learning with virtual reality has tremendous use in imparting education through edutainment.
X201 Room is a scalable solution that provides a hybrid learning environment that helps deliver an immersive and collaborative experience with real-time engagement for both in-room and remote participants.
Okay, what I wanted to show you by showing you this video is I don't want you to imagine or that I'm talking only about children. It can be done and applied for all ages in any kind of sphere. Okay, so for example, if you imagine this kind of environment where you sit behind your computer and you are in a virtual room with, I don't know, 50 other people, and you You can see each other. Well, it's like Zoom, but in a more elevated or more modern approach. So, Edutainment provides technological tools for educators to create engaging, interesting, and entertaining classroom activities. Okay, so it is effective and versatile thanks to the technology as well as the creativity of the teachers. Okay. Now, and we've got two more branches that we did not cover, and the first one is going to be emotional engagement through senses. Now, I wanted to get into this and make it smooth, but I'm sorry, it is my train of thoughts was so complex that Prezi needed more time for me, or I needed more time for Prezi, so I apologize. But I started by, when we talk about emotional engagement through senses, does anybody here know what is Paula and Paulina? Esmeralda? Yes, we're going far back. Soap operas, yeah. So I have a couple of pictures with emotions, if you look. And when we talk about emotions, I remembered my mother coming home from work, and she was like, "Leave me alone." And then she was crying, and she was all emotional, and it was a filtration for her. Okay. Well, we are talking about emotions right now, not learning. Yeah. Maybe if she watched it in Spanish, that would have been effective. But nowadays you've got Turkish soap operas and other stuff that I've heard of. Okay. So let's take these emotions and put them into the educational process. Yeah. So learning involves more of the students' senses. Educational learning involves more of the students' senses, and it results in higher engagement. Okay, the more senses, visual, hearing, tactile, emotional, tastes, and so on, the more colorful the whole process, the better for the student. Okay, I think for the teacher too. We have seen it today with Maria. She was not only playing with them, she made them taste the fruit. They played with water. So that was a great example. So, I wanted to show you this one. Music. What can music do? She involves music as well. Like they're a brilliant combination. And that's why Maria, in my point of view, is...
There was also music in here.
Oh, I haven't been here. I apologize, but I'm... But thank you.
The second stage of what she started, it continued.
But excuse me, Lubka, I have no doubt about your qualities. I haven't been here. Sorry. So.
People are nothing more than a bunch of individuals until they come together. But when they come together properly, they become much more than the sum of their parts. Building community is our greatest asset as a species, but it is also a very real human need. Things such as trust, connection, care, coherence, collaboration, creativity, a sense of commonwealth and communion are essential to any social unit. But they are also things that make us feel better about ourselves and others. And so, it is ironic that those human needs, those social itches that we can't scratch on our own, are also the key to unlocking a group's full human potential. Making music together, we become music together. A human network synced up in self-expression with a shared sense of purpose, aesthetics, rhythm, and harmony. And so the best part of all of this is that it rubs off on us. We take it home with us in the form of a newfound collective operating system or community culture. Elevated spaces elevate humans, and elevated humans spread elevated humanity. Elevated space elevates
continue, but I hope you got the idea of music and education and the message that he was. Bye-bye. I know. Wish you all the best and good luck. Happy to see you. Bye-bye. Okay, so there was music. Drama, I would have gotten here drama, and Luca is one of the great examples of drama can be applied. How drama can be applied.
Drama queens.
Drama queens, yeah, can be applied. She has been working with children doing drama for years and years and years, so she could talk about it endlessly. Storytelling is very nice. Cooking, hands-on experience again. Sports challenges, competitions. Nowadays I've heard that some people, and in England or some, I'm not going to be specific, I don't know exactly, but they are trying to avoid challenges so children will not feel the negative emotions of losing and so on and so on. I think challenges, sports, competitions have their place in the educational field, and they must be there, of course, controlled, obviously under control. Okay, but then when we talk about edutainment, this is something I would love to do, but I can't, as well as I can't play music. But I wanted to show you, and rather than the tricks, look at the children.
I am Nash.
My name's Nitra.
Okay, and you are?
Hi, I'm Helena.
Nice meeting you, Helena. Nice meeting you. Sorry, today my backpack here is pretty big, so it's really annoying. I can't help that. It's okay. All right, we gotta start. What's going on? Are you okay? What? Fire! Fire? Oh, man. Anyway, so we're gonna start the day right now.
I'm doing magic tricks because this fire keeps popping up. I saw fire looking.
What? Do you see the fire? I don't see the fire, man. This is my wallet, man. Anyway, how's it going?
Are you a magician?
I am.
He's a magician?
Mm-hmm.
Abracadabra. What kind of magic do you do?
You know, I do a lot of close-up style magic, and I also have a stage show as well. I do some mind reading.
Mind
reading? Yeah. Don't be scared. It's okay. I'm not doing it.
Okay, good. Magician makes a lot of money?
If you're good, then yes. You can make a lot of money doing things, anything, if you're good.
And why you have a magical wallet?
Okay, well, I'll tell you why this magical wallet is magical. Just watch over here. Now, you see I got cash in here, right? Now, Crystal, how much do I have?
$5.
Okay, now, if you can do magic, what will you do with these money?
Make them disappear.
Make them disappear? What? Watch this. Can I see your right hand right now? Because instead of making them disappear, how about you make them $100?
Wow!
Mathematics.
$2, $3, $4, $500 over here. Yay!
Wow!
Yeah, so magicians do make some good money, I guess. Have you guys ever seen a magician before?
No, I haven't seen one, but I have seen myself do some magic tricks.
Wow.
That's like me. That's like me.
It's called the bubblegum pop.
The bubblegum pop!
I'm a magician.
I have been studying magic since I was 14 years old.
Wow.
I love puzzles and things that make me think, and magic was one of them.
Is magic your full-time job?
It is. I'm very fortunate.
Can you show us a trick, please?
Of course I can. Yes, let's do it. Right? Oh. Yeah, I know, right? I'll put my ID on his hand over here. Yeah, nothing around it, like that. Yeah, nothing around it. But watch 1, 2. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not sure what that is, but I'll go with that. Go like that. Oh, God.
I'm speechless again. I don't know how this is.
2, 3.
Make me fly.
Make you fly.
Whatever, yeah, getting crazy, yeah? Okay, so you get the point, yeah? So try to imagine bringing a little bit of magic into the classroom. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And yeah, comedy. I sometimes tend to do fun of myself. I'm not really a comedian, but sometimes. But I'm going to show you who I was inspired with or by. But first, I'm going to tell you about how this edutainment can be personalized. Yeah, it can be personalized as well. Yesterday we had a teacher, Miss Vogel. Yes, who was talking about SEN learners with special educational needs. She was talking about this. Again, edutainment, playing, games, connection, building, construction, hands-on experience, make students more empathetic, losing, competitions, yeah, they use all these things. Edutainment allows students to become more expressive, more observant, and more aware of the things happening in their environment. It gives students the time and freedom to learn at their own pace, and it puts emphasis on both educational and personal development. And edutainment encourages personal learning. Let's take a look at this.
In most settings, all students are expected to learn material at the same time and in the same way. Many find themselves either ahead or behind others, and learning outcomes suffer, particularly for students who need extra time to master the material. Flipped courses, competency-based education, and online and hybrid classes are changing the way we think about learning. Flexibility in delivery creates opportunities with learning that adapts to the needs of each student. Combining new learning models with digital courseware, integrated planning and advising for student success, and analytics can create a learning ecosystem that tailors support to individual students. For example, an e-textbook could share data with a learning management system about the number of pages read, time spent on each page, notes made, or number of times a video is watched. An analytics tool could evaluate those data for patterns associated with engagement, achievement, and course success. The tool could trigger alerts to students and faculty when problems arise. An adaptive learning system could adjust learning content on the fly, based on data from an online quizzing tool that shows each student's mastery of the material. Prior learning assessment credits skills and knowledge individuals have when they enter a course.
Very simply, instead of sitting in classes or presentations and taking tests, how cool it would be if you could have your own pace. You can do certain things on your mobile. That would be an app. And I, the teacher, would have the access to your results, only to your results, and see what you have done, you haven't done. Be able to see how much time did you spend with it, how much how much more data I would have about your ability to learn, to cope with situations. So these all technological and edutainment and educational devices and techniques and technology, if they combine together, they can be an extremely powerful source of energy and for the future educational processes, and also inspiration. That was, I would say, the theory. And now I have here about 15, 16 or 20 different videos of activities, of things that I have been doing together with my friends and my colleagues and my lovely wife in this language school called Language Planet. We have been working with several methods, from direct methods for English, teaching adults, Genki English, What's English, Lego education. And I wanted to show you that I'm not a person who's only talking about these things and I found all these sources on the internet and I'm so smart. No, actually I have gone through this. I have done the pain, I have done the walk for 12 years. And when we were talking about the magic, I wanted to show you my magicians. So here they are. Mirko's magic trick.
Do the magic counting trick. So
How much is 1 plus 1? How much is 2 plus 1? How much is 2 plus 1?
2 plus 6 is 3.
How much is 3 plus 1?
3 plus 8 is 4.
Whoa. How much is 4 plus 1?
4 plus 8 is 5.
How much is 5 plus 1?
5 plus 6 equals 6.
How much is 6 plus 1?
6 plus 7 equals 7.
How much is 7 plus 1?
7 plus equals 3.
How much is 7 plus 1?
7 plus 3 equals 8.
Very good. How much is 8 plus 1?
Equals 9.
Yeah, equals 9. And how much is 9 plus 1?
9 plus equals 10.
How much is 10? Show me 10. 10 fingers.
And here comes Marco.
Very good. How much is?
1 plus 4
Very good, Matko. Brilliant. You're a mathematician.
Okay. When we were talking about the pen, I wanted to show you the pen because these two fellas were. Excuse me, I know I had 1 hour. I don't know who is the next presenter. I don't want to take your time. Eliam, would you mind giving me a couple of more minutes? Go ahead. You're my man. You're my man. Thank you. Okay, so when we were talking about playing puzzles and playing and using this here. Here, one experience. Here they are. No, this one. No. Oh, excuse me.
Now, Mirko, you can choose one. No. Touch it. Touch it with the magic pen. What is it? A formula. Show it's a formula. Okay, good. Now, Matko can touch one. Okay, which one? Should I touch Matko? This one. Matko. Matko is speaking, you have to be quiet. Yeah, is it right? Very good, it's an ambulance now, Mirko. Which one shall I touch? Which one? Okay. You have to be quiet. Okay. You will go to jail.
Okay, good. We're not sending the boys to jail, to make it clear. But we were catching criminals and playing with cars just before, and the criminals went to jail. Okay, so we're not jail. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Mirko?
Okay, so you can play. You know, you can play memory game like Pexeso with normal cards, or you can play with this. It's edutainment again. But when we're talking about music, for example, I want to show you this crazy girl. Oh, this is. These were not. Excuse me. So this is where I was not able to finish it, and this is the negative of today's presentation. I apologize. But please cooperate with me at least here on this one. Singing, for example. And now she sees me in the corridor and doesn't even say hello to me. Yeah. So, but at those times, 8 years ago, she was like, "Oh, Miret." So we were talking about building from Lego. Here's a Lego race. Okay, so idea, I brought them Lego robotics, they built a car, we gave them a tablet, and they were able to race with it. Okay, so again, there was another one. When we talk about building, cooperating together, now this one was a crazy one. When in a summer camp, we built these rockets from bottles. This one ended up somewhere up here in the tree. Okay, I'm going to show you again, because I assume that you might be interested in this one. Okay, here comes. So, and there were two girls who built this rocket. And they were lucky because they got the big 2-liter bottle. So we pumped it up with air, there was some water in it, and then when you hit it, so it was a nice competition. But we need to make sure that the children keep the distance. Okay? Oh, we got some breakdancing here. Whoa! Okay, no. And that's the end of the presentation, please. Well, I have prepared plenty of things for you that I wanted to show you, but maybe next time I wanted to show you videos from our summer camps, from our daily summer camps, and all the different activities which have been connected with Edutainment. So the little house on the top of the tree was a little dream of mine, and I'm happy that I was able to build it up in these 12 years. It's very hard to keep it running, and in the end of the day, the most important thing are the people, you, young people, who want to bring the energy, who want to bring their creativity into the whole thing. I have seen many great teachers here, very great future teachers. So I believe that whether you're going to be teaching or not, even if you apply what I've said into business, so many of my good friends who are great teachers work in the sales industry, work in all kinds of sorts of life. So I would be so happy if I saw the majority of you dealing and working with children. But if you don't, this is the future, I think, everywhere. So, but I feel like the school educational system is going to be one of those last places to be really implemented in Slovakia. So maybe if you're going to put greater pressure, and you will be the ones who will be willing to do the change, you want it to be, it could have been much better. But there was one last video I wanted to show, but
it's okay.
It's just too much information.
It was very rich.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation.